46 days on now, and the 6 boys abducted from the Lagos State Model College are yet to regain their freedom.
And the question we continue to ask, when will they be reunited with their parents? Well, joining us in the studio is a spokesman, Safe Schools and Communities Advocacy Group at Deola Shoeton. Good morning, and thanks for joining us. 46 days on, and we're still here. One would have expected that by now these kids would be freed, in spite of the fact that the kidnappers sometime last week actually promised that the kids will be back
very soon.
Well, it's so sad. But let me start with a cultural perspective in Yoruba land. You say, Omo Miku, Sonju Omo Minulo, which means the death of a child is less agonizing to the parent than a lost child.
Because you already have closure in the event of a death.
But now you are even talking of a lost child on the basis of kidnapping. So it's more traumatizing and nauseating. So where do we come from here and where do we go from here? When you look at our communities, our schools, which are really embedded in those communities, are not safe. And there's a social root for this. Yes, the country is going up, 40 million youths unemployed, coming to Lagos. Mega projects, good enough. Mega state, why not? But all these things, have we measured, evaluated the negative social implications? When you throw people out of their homes, when you destroy waterfronts, when you push people out, the Okada riders, when you seize a lot of things, and you don't have the courage to throw affected people into the lagoon. So what that means is they are still existing. And they must survive. This is where we have to look at the social root of this crime. However, when those schools are not saved, it means all of us are not saved. It's not just about the pupils. Because every day it assaults our psychology. Where are these boys? It can be anybody. Mark you, that was the second time.
Exactly.
In the same school. We went to public school, many of us now.
And safety was something that was taken for granted then.
I was a boarding school. And in fact, our school did not even have perimeter fence.
Well, it was like that in many public schools back in the days. But now, so with this now, kidnapping has become a lucrative business sort of in the country. And then many pupils and students have been kidnapped in the past. Even right now, apart from the 6 boys, a notice was sent to another school in Lagos, Badagry, Kakon, Lagos State Model College as well in Badagry. And some underreported incidents of kidnapping of pupils, students and principals in Lagos as well. So it seems that at this time, the discussion and the need for safer school environment cannot be overemphasized. Am I right?
Yes, because when you send your pupils to school, you want to go and sleep and rest your heads that they are safe in safe hands. Not even pupils now, even teachers. Because when teachers are not safe, they cannot impart any knowledge concretely to the pupils. Then you ask yourself, what are the security architecture for this school? You don't just allow pupils to be on their own, or teachers to be on their own, without designing a sustainable security architecture. And how do I mean? Take, for instance, that school now. Along waterfront, what is the level of marine policing? Reliably, we are informed just about 3 or 4 marine boats are working in Lagos. That cannot be good enough.
In all of Lagos?
In all of Lagos states. That cannot be good enough. Then you talk of what is the distance of police posts to many of these schools, or police stations. Then what is the role of community policing? Here I'm not talking of just launching community, a group in the state. No. It's a collective responsibility. Let this conscious attempt derived from the community themselves.
What is the way forward? I mean, all kinds of groups have been advocating. The State Assembly, for example, has been calling on for more police commands in those areas. Some have recommended, especially security experts, say, look, there's a need for CCTV, use of technology in ensuring safety in the schools. In your work so far, what do you think would be the best way to actually secure the schools?
One, government must appreciate that education is a big priority. More funding is necessary. And when you fund, you don't just fund on the basis of newspaper or what have you. You must design a security architecture that will now address this issue. One, let those schools be considered as a security priority, wherein more policing, particularly
the
those
public schools, that
yes,
is.
Yes,
and you know
yes,
there are about
yes.
700 or so of them in Lagos State alone.
In fact, I suggested sometimes
that
there's nothing bad in those schools having guide dogs.
Okay, guard dogs.
Exactly. You need to train people to handle dogs.
But wouldn't that send a wrong message to especially the pupils and students in Lagos that they are not really safe?
Entirely
They see
safe.
security operatives and guard dogs in place every day.
We are not safe. That's the reality. Nobody is safe. If those boys have been, Lagos State is supposed to be the most secure state in the Federation. And the criminals are telling us now, from Maiduguri to Lagos, almost the length of Nigeria. So if Chibok could happen over 1,000 days now you have in Lagos over 46 days now, it shows the nation is not safe. And Lagos, that's supposed to be the most secure state, based on billions that have been raised, based on a lot of, propaganda, machinery that have been put in place, it shows you are not safe. That one should be cleared. What we need to do now is, first of all, to allow the local people, the democratic right to control their security network.
How will that come about?
It's not about launching at Alausa. Let artisans, local government authorities, CDAs, be part and parcel of who to recruit within the community. And now the democratic right of control over the budget. Not that you just launch and send it to the community. No, it can't work like that. Let tenants, artisan groups, local government authorities, schools, principals, churches, mosques, human rights organizations in the community.
And don't you think that could be abused in the long run?
It can be. Why it can be is that they know them, those who are going to be involved. For instance, now in my area, 2 days ago, I just saw the neighborhood car escorting somebody. I asked myself, to join, have you joined people just, embarrassing people around?
That's a blue neighborhood watch vehicle.
Meanwhile, they are supposed to be in the communities, to be determined, to be controlled by us in the community. So you don't set up a strange organizations just sent to the community. This is where local government autonomy comes to play.
Adeola Shoeton is of Safe Schools and Community Advocacy Group, and it's day 46. The 6 boys kidnapped from Igbonla College are yet to return home to the loving embrace of their parents. So you were profiling, ways forward how schools can be safe. But in addition to that, why do you think that the schools, especially the public schools, have become such a soft target, so to speak, for these kidnappers?
Well, it's obvious now. Even before the issue of kidnap, public schools have been abandoned completely. That is why you have even public school teachers sending their children to private schools. It's a contradiction. Even that's why you have government officials, none, especially the top one, has their children or wards in public school. So public school have been wrecked on the basis of neoliberal economic policy.
I'm tempted to ask whether there should be some kind of law to, enforce it that public officers must put their wards or their kids in public schools.
That is one of the way forward. I remember when you were in NCP, National Conscious Party, during Mr. leadership. It was there that the moment you are a government official elected, no matter where your kids are, even if they are in Harvard, you must bring them back to come and study in UR Unilag, so that we know that all of us are facing it together. You wonder. I didn't mean that children of governor, ministers, commissioners were involved. Do you think they will stay for 46 days?
Well, many people have talked about that. That is because their children do not go to that schools. But should it get to that? Should it be a question of practically coercing public workers or politicians, especially in power now, to bring their children who could be abroad to come back to school? Shouldn't it be about service first to the people?
It's part of service. You need to remind them. Let me give you an instance. You have a restaurant where you sell amala. I say, welcome and eat delicious amala here.
Food is ready.
Food is ready. But when you want to eat your own amala, as the owner of the restaurant, you cross over to another place to go and buy amala. Will that make sense?
So put your money where your mouth is.
Exactly.
That is what you're saying.
If all of us are in public schools, then we know, because there's a chance that out of these 6 people that were kidnapped, 2 or 3 children of governor, commissioner, IG may be there. Then we start thinking of something else. When you liberalize the economy to the extent that government has virtually handed off on education, on funding almost going to zero. So what you have now is the harvest of crime, particularly for the youth. 14 million, it's not a joke. 14 million youths unemployed in Nigeria.
And 10-point-something million out of school.
Out of schools. So there is no way we go ahead solving this problem without fundamentally thinking of how public money must be spent to public service.
But to be fair, the first time this happened, and in the same school, the government and, of course, the police command, Lagos State Police Command, of course, under the federal government of Nigeria, acted swiftly, and they arrested the suspects. So don't you think somehow maybe people were just somehow being too harsh on the government, because so far the boys are still missing?
And in addition to that, the governor has said, look, we cannot, because of the sensitive nature of this issue, continue to put whatever information out there
exactly,
and jeopardize the lives of these kids.
You don't put strategic information out, but that doesn't mean certain crucial informations will not be on the public space.
Like what?
Globally, it happened that we are closing. In fact, I will expect Mr. Governor on a daily basis, anywhere he goes, either to declare one program, to put it at the last paragraph of his statement that on this April 6, we are on top of the situation.
But he did recently.
He's been doing that.
He's been doing that.
Because
just a couple of days
the
ago.
campaigns that we've been launching for the past weeks now. You ask yourself too. In fact, by now, visits to that school should have been done. By now,
by government officials and the government.
Even by the governor.
Okay.
Even the parents, because by now, you know the psychology, not only of those kidnapped puppies. They have friends, they have mates. You need to go there and address those puppies. That what we were like you before, government is ready to do a lot of things. This is how far we have gone. This is what we are assuring you, that we are on top of the situation. And mark you, it's not only for the students alone or the parents. It's for all of us. Now, everybody will think public schools are not safe. And really, they are not safe.
It seems it's an attack on education generally.
Because, in fact, the first attacker on public education is the state, is the government.
Not just the kidnappers.
Yes, that's the first attacker.
That's the first, oh, wow.
Yes, because when you don't make schools safe, where the funding is not good enough, when those schools, even when you go to all those schools, I think Punch did a very marvelous job about a year ago.
Yes.
Where even schools in Ikeja were sitting on bare floor, writing on a block.
Pupils.
So you start wondering, that cannot be a safe school. Then what happens to all these youth agencies that we used to have? Boys Brigade, Boy Scout, Red Cross. We need to return all these things back So that we have a total child. Not the idea of, but how do you do that? Even when the classrooms are not safe.
So
when the dormitories are not safe. When they are not even complete. I was a member of Boy Scout. I was a member of the Red Cross in my secondary school days as a brother. And all these things we had.
So you would say then that what is happening in the education sector is a reflection of what's happening in the larger society. Government's budget, like you said, you know, they are the ones who are actually attacking the first attacker of the education system.
Yes.
That's not even up to 5% of the budget, compared to the UNESCO recommendation of 26% for schools. Now, let's even take it a bit wider. We're actually supposed to round off now. What do you think are the implications for the future, especially with the issue we raised earlier about, you know, this kind of class distinction in the schools? I remember when I went to primary school.
Many of us are products of public schools.
Yeah, went to public school. The
Quality
children of
public
governors,
education.
ministers, carpenters, the plumber,
indeed.
they all mixed together. And, oh, wow.
He says that goes to the social route. Now we have more division. The middle class have been erased. The lower and the topmost higher class. A situation where you have just about 10 to 15 people whose wealth is enough to liberate 100 million from poverty. That tells you the crisis we are facing with neoliberalism. There is no way all these crises can be resolved without fundamentally addressing the nature of Nigerian economy. Well, if you don't allow the commanding structure of the economy to be practically controlled by the working people who feel the pains, then all these problems will continue to occur. I want to appeal to these kidnappers, if you are watching us, that please, these are children of the poor. Release them. I don't want to encourage kidnapping, but however, if you must kidnap, follow Evans.
We shouldn't even encourage any form of kidnapping. It is crime. It is a capital offense.
Release these puppies. They are children of the poor. And there's nothing that these children can do to get themselves out. In fact, yesterday when it was raining, it came to my mind, where were these puppies?
Yes, absolutely.
Or the Greeks, where are they? In the boat, where were they?
Very good question there.
These are very, very traumatizing things. I want to appeal, for God's sake, let the governor and the government, the police, up the ante of the campaign, or the closeness, or the surveillance in our schools. And for God's sake, until those pupils were released, we consider government as not doing enough.
Well,
all right, we'll have to leave it there.
Thank you very much, Adeola Soweto. You're a member of Safe Schools and Communities Advocacy Group. Thank you for your analysis on TVC.